Welcome to this year's edition of the NFHS Football Video Training Series. We're studying the National Federation of High School Football Rules and Five-Man Mechanics. This is our video training collection, sponsored by the Arkansas Association of High School Officials, the AAHSO, helping good officials get better. Our technical advisor for the rules is George Demetrio. Greg Downham is our line of scrimmage technical advisor. Senior technical advisor is Dax Hill. This video is produced by Matt Bivens. Executive producer is Walt Coleman. I'm your host, Todd Allen. Let's start this week off with this play. And the interesting thing about this play is the coach talked with the referee and the umpire before the game, and the referee and umpire talked to the crew before the game. And they discussed this play. Now, they didn't discuss any type of a signal that the play was about to be run, and the coach gave them no indication of when he would run it or if he would run it. He just said, this is a play that we have. And it came out in this formation with no precursor or no warning that it was coming. So let's talk about this formation here. And although the camera's not directly down the line, we can use a little technology and throw a little line in like this and kind of see where everyone's feet is relation to this line. And this line is basically one tick off of the big line, and I stretched it from both sidelines. Field may not be marked exactly straight, or it may be the curvature of the camera that gives us this little leak, but you can tell this is a pretty straight line, and we can work from this as far as determining who is and who is not on the line of scrimmage. So we'll start with, let's just count the players that are on the line of scrimmage. And player number one here, now a caveat about player number one is he is wearing an eligible number, but he's in a tackle position. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is the tricky part of this play. Number 6 is actually the left tackle, and he is out here wide on the right side of the formation, but he is on the line of scrimmage. If you look at the tight end or the tackle on this end of the line of scrimmage on the right side, you can see from where his feet are, and we're counting him on the line of scrimmage. He's player 5. Then you look at number 6 here. His feet are forward of that, so he is also on the line of scrimmage, and of course 7's on the line of scrimmage. So we have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and I've kind of given you what makes this play unique. We've got this ineligible number out here wide, but still on the line of scrimmage, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 eligible receivers also in the formation here. Let's talk about what is an eligible receiver. There are 2 requirements to be an eligible receiver. First of all, you have to have an eligible number, which we know is 1 through 49 and 80 through 99. Let me back up, because this is a rule change from this year. I said 1 through 49. It's actually 0 through 49 before you send me that nasty email or make a comment on here. I did remember the rule change, and just to say, complete transparency, I love your comments and your emails. So I was just kidding with that. But anyway, let's run this play now with what we know. And, the second thing about eligibility, to be eligible. We talked about the numbers. The second thing is you have to be in an eligible position. So you have to be eligible by number and position. What are the positions that are eligible? Any player wearing an eligible number on the end of the line is eligible, and any player clearly lined up in the backfield is also an eligible player. There's one exception to that. The player in position to receive the hand-to-hand snap who is in no man's land. He is neither on the line of scrimmage nor is he clearly in the backfield. That player is traditionally called the quarterback. When he's under center, he is neither on the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, but he, wearing an eligible number, is also an eligible receiver. So I think we've covered it all. So now let's look at this play. And we see here that this player in the tight end position wearing an eligible number 2 goes down the middle of the field and catches a ball, and we have a flag at the line of scrimmage. And the call is an ineligible player downfield. But the player is eligible. He's eligible by both number and position. And again, we covered this in the pregame, but then when we looked at the play, we got it wrong. And then we didn't fix it. And there was some discussion with the head coach about that. And we made some comments in the play bulletin this week that are helpful about who we do and who we don't talk to and what our expectation is, because we're the calming force in the game. When everyone else goes crazy, we're the calm ones that can just talk about the play. And there's a chance what we should have done is got this crew together, since that we all knew that this was a potential play, and we should have just spent a few seconds talking through it. We could have very quickly got to the eligible number because everyone knew number 2 caught the ball. And then all we had to do is just get together and realize that we had these 2 players that were off the line of scrimmage, and that would have made number 2 eligible by both position and number, and we could have gotten this play right. Missed opportunity. When we cover in the pregame, it's important that we officiate the play correctly. But these types of plays, formations, eligible and ineligible, we need to get these plays right every time. All right, let's take a look at this play. And when we talk about the line of scrimmage, you've got to be 100% on these plays to be good at the line of scrimmage. The false starts, the defense offsides, the illegal formations that we just talked about. These are bread and butter plays for line of scrimmage officials, and man, is it important that you're good at these. So watch this at full speed, and what we get here is a false start called on the wideout here by the head linesman. But we go back and let's watch this in really slow motion and see that the ball moves first and then this player moves. How do we call this false start? We just get tricked. Maybe our eyes moving around. What I always do is, and I work on the line of scrimmage, is I focus on the shoulder pads of the center and I park my eyes there until the ball is snapped. And then peripheral movement that's early is very easy to identify. It just jumps right at you. But when your eyes shift around and it does that split second, it takes your brain to focus on these things, then you just are guessing. And in this one, you see, we rule false start because for whatever reason, we guessed, and we guessed wrong. Got a couple of DPI plays to show you, and whether they are or not DPI is what we're stuck with. This wide shot, you see, kind of hard to see what goes on there. It doesn't really look like much. Then you watch the end zone shot here, and you see that there is some contact by both players. But here's the reason why I do not think this is defensive pass interference, because I put this in the category of neither player playing the ball. When I take you back to this end zone shot, and then I'll show you the wide one again too, you just look at the offensive player after the ball's already gone by him and there has been some contact, he turns around, but like I said, the ball is gone. So look at the wide shot here again, and I think the question in the play becomes a little more easy to discern why this is not defensive pass interference. And the Federation rules, I'm going to hear from you guys, I know, say, catchable or not catchable has nothing to do with defensive pass interference in a high school game. And that's certainly one way of looking at it. I don't like that way of looking at it. But what I also look at is that the Federation rules challenge you to call the fouls that make a difference when one team unfairly gains an advantage. And I think that's the verbiage in the Federation rule where you get uncatchable ball is not defensive pass interference. The elements of defensive pass interference are there, and the Federation, because of the uniqueness of the game, doesn't like to use the term uncatchable ball. But what we put this in the category of is not defensive pass interference because neither player is playing the ball. So we're not going to miss the pass because of the contact. And that's why I think it's very important that you understand philosophies. And I'm going to put a link down in the description below to a PDF file that shows all of our philosophies that we use. And look into the category of defensive pass interference. And you're going to find that when either player is playing the ball or neither player is playing the ball and there's incidental contact, we do not want defensive pass interference to be called. So that's how we get there on this play. Let's take a look at another play which has just the total opposite in that element. So here is a different play, and take a look at this. And as the receiver streaks across the field, he's got number 18 following him, and the receiver goes down right before the ball gets there. And boy, we get a big yell from the home crowd here with the red team. But we look at this on the end zone shot, and now you can see 18 really clearly. He's got his hand on the receiver, but they're both tracking the ball. Let me slow this down and back it up, because this hand doesn't do anything that 18 has on the receiver's back. He's basically just looking up the field and keeping his distance with that hand. There's no movement of the body. There's no repositioning. That is nothing. But watch, look at 18's head, and then now look at the feet. I'm going to freeze it right here and look at their feet. The receiver is just as responsible for the feet getting tangled up here as the defender is, because both of these players are playing the ball. If the defender was just in chase and not playing the ball and their feet get tangled up, that is defensive pass interference. But when both players are playing the ball, or if neither player is playing the ball and their feet get tangled up, we want nothing. It is just bad timing, bad luck for both players. But this is not defensive pass interference. And again, check on the philosophies there. What says is not defensive pass interference. Either player is not playing the ball or both players are playing the ball and their feet get tangled up. Just incidental contact. We would not want, and we properly did not call, defensive pass interference on both of these plays. That is it for this week, an abbreviated version of the video training series as we continue our transition to new studios 600 miles away. That's right, I'm right in the middle of moving after 5 years of being in Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. Now moving the studio back to Cabot, Arkansas. And we're in Cabot now in our temporary studios for a couple more weeks, but the new studio completely up and running by the first week in November. So I'm very excited about that. So thanks for sticking with me until the end. I appreciate what you do, and study those philosophies. I think it will really help you be more consistent, help you see the play in more detail, especially if you understand those categories of defensive pass interference. And that's the name of the game. And then getting the calls right, being professional. There's some information about the play bulletin this week about, I hope you've already read it, about being a professional and how when others go crazy, we're still the calming force that keeps everything on even keel. We are unfettered by anything that's said or done. Other thing, too, for our coaches, we're going to listen to the head coach and give him a chance to vent. It's very frustrating when your livelihood depends on 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old young men and women playing football. So we're going to give the head coach a chance to vent and talk and ask questions. But the assistant coaches, absolutely not. If the assistant coaches vent or scream things from the sideline, we should immediately penalize that 15 yards. And I tell you what I did, and I thought was very effective, was I did have an instance in one game. It was a college game, but this assistant coach just went crazy. And I went to the head coach, and I said, Coach, I've listened to you. I've worked with you. I've let you vent, but I absolutely will not listen to your assistant coaches. Please take care of that so I don't have to penalize your kids out here playing the game 15 yards for what he's doing. And he called a team timeout, didn't do anything with his players, went over to his assistant coaches and said, shut your mouth. If anything needs to be said to these officials, I will say it. I hated that he had to burn a timeout, but I loved his message. And in pregame, feel free, referees, to talk to the head coach about please keep your assistant coaches under control. They are not going to berate the officials. And then stick to that. But if you can engage the head coach and get cooperation with controlling his sideline, you're going to come out much better off than just simply throwing the flag, which doesn't do anything but punish the kids for what adults are doing on the sideline. And I hate that, and I know you do too. All right, here's my email address, toddallen65@gmail.com. Anything you'd like to share with me or tell me how you're using the videos, I absolutely love to hear from everyone. If I didn't answer your email this week, I'm still going to try. Just please understand, moving 600 miles, getting everything done, it's just a lot. Starting a new job, just a lot. Same company, but a lot to do in this week. So I'll try to get to those just as quickly as I can. For the Arkansas Association of High School Officials, now more than ever, I hope to see you on the field real soon.